This is the Oculus Go. At only $200 or £200, it's a standalone VR headset that doesn't need a mobile phone. With only a single very basic controller, is this the best mobile VR yet, or is it just a waste of your time? Let's find out. I'm James Bruce and you're watching MakeUseOf.com reviews. So what is and isn't the Oculus Go? Let's start out with what it isn't, because I've already heard some confusion even among MakeUseOf staff members here. What it isn't is a replacement for your Oculus Rift. This is not a next generation VR headset. It doesn't connect to a PC and it doesn't allow you to play PC games on this wirelessly. It doesn't allow you to move around your room, or at all in fact. It's strictly limited to 3 degrees of freedom, which means you can look around like this, but not move around like that. The controller is also a very basic 3 degrees of freedom model. However, Oculus does a pretty good job of sort of faking the motion when you're inside of the interface and in gaming experiences. So essentially it's a much cheaper and much more convenient version of the Gear VR, right down to the fact that it uses the same interface and the same Oculus Store, the same software. But instead of paying $100 for the Gear VR case, plus another $500–600 on top of that for a suitable phone that'll go in it, instead you just pay $200 for the 32GB model or 64GB for $250. Of course, you're also not getting a full Android system with this, as you would with a mobile phone. It's a cut-down operating system that literally only runs Oculus Store apps and other side-loaded Oculus-compatible content. So let's talk about design, specs, and all that other good stuff. Inside you'll find a Snapdragon 821 CPU, which is quite a few years old now and understandably a little bit sluggish. There's 3GB of RAM and 32GB of storage in the base model. There is no micro USB slot for expanding it. However, there is a micro USB port through which all communications is done, and if you do have one of these new micro USB sticks, you should be able to put it in there, should you wish to expand your storage. There's no charger included in the package, just a basic micro USB cable. However, it is 2018, so I expect you'll have a USB charging port somewhere. Battery life is a little bit disappointing. I managed to get just under 2 hours of gameplay and just over 2 hours of straight up media watching. It also lost around 5 to 10% of the battery when I left it on standby overnight, which is default. I don't think you can actually completely turn it off. Perhaps that's because it was downloading applications or syncing data somewhere, or maybe Facebook was using the microphone to listen to everything we do all night. On the audio side, it's a bit weird. Rather than having built-in headphones like the Oculus Rift has, instead, the audio is produced inside the headset and routed through the straps, through these little cavities in the plastic strap at the front. The result isn't bad. It sounds okay, it's not stunning, there's very little bass, obviously, but it's not bad. There is also a 3.5mm stereo port, but the downside of doing it this way is, of course, that everyone around you can hear what you're watching. It's really not private at all. So do be careful what kind of movies you're going to watch in public. A single, rather natty controller is included, which has a trigger button, a trackpad, a back button, and an Oculus button. It's perfectly fine for navigating menus. It's passable for playing some types of games, but other than that, it's not particularly impressive. Not nearly as good as, say, the Oculus Touch controllers for the desktop VR. However, you can also pair a wireless Xbox controller if you have one of the newer ones that runs off of Bluetooth. If it's the older model that requires a separate USB dongle, that one won't work. You'll have to buy a new version. As for the screen and optics, it's actually a higher resolution panel than you'll find on the Rift or Vive. This one is 1280 by 1440 pixels per eye. And they also have slightly different version of the lenses in here than they do on the Rift. On this, I found that it had a slightly larger sweet spot, and the God rays effect that's so detrimental on the Rift is significantly reduced on this. Now, I personally couldn't see much of a screen door effect. It's probably still there, but perhaps the fact that I wear glasses means it's a bit diminished for me. Speaking of which, the glasses I wear, they do fit fine into here. However, there's also a glasses spacer provided, which attaches onto the face pad and brings it slightly further away from your face. But bear in mind, this is going to reduce the field of view. The screen and lenses are absolutely a step up from the Oculus Rift. As for software and experiences, well, video apps aside, gaming on the Oculus Go is always going to be fairly limited just because of the lack of processing power and the fairly limited controller. So do set your expectations appropriately. This is mobile VR in every sense. That said, if you're okay with some casual gaming, then I did actually quite enjoy a couple of the games. Smash It, for instance, is an on-rail shooter where you're lobbing balls at crystals to smash them and avoiding objects. And I really liked Coaster Combat, which is again another on rails, but you're riding a roller coaster and you're shooting little crystals and things. Gaming on the Oculus Go is ultimately somewhat limited and does feel a bit like tech demos. However, if this is your first headset, I think you'll be quite impressed. Hardened PC gamers will probably want to stay away from those though. There are, however, an awful lot of video and media consumption apps, such as Netflix and Hulu, though one noticeable exception is YouTube. There's no native app. There is a built-in browser which you can use to navigate to YouTube, and it functions, it's just very sluggish. For me, the one killer app is the native Plex Client. And this is something that isn't actually available on the PC side. While there is an unofficial PleVR experience, shortly after that release, the developer was snapped up officially by Plex and put to work on a mobile client, the one for the Gear VR and now compatible with Oculus Go. It's fantastic resolution, and of course the convenience of the Oculus Go means that you're not tethered to a PC, so you can lie back in bed and watch your movies. So when I did the 2018 which VR headset should you buy, I basically glossed over the Oculus Go and said forget about it. Now if you're in the market for a PC gaming headset, I still stand by that. There's really not going to be that much compelling gaming content for you on the Oculus Go. Your best bet is still on a budget, the Oculus Rift for $400. But I'll certainly be keeping mine, and that will mainly be for watching videos. The biggest thing for me, I think, is just the sheer convenience. You can just throw it on anytime, any place, and jump into VR, which means you can use it places you never could before. Cue videos of me using it in random places. Sure, none of the gaming content is particularly compelling, but the fact that it's just so accessible and you've got VR right at your fingertips, that is compelling. As a demo machine, the Oculus Go is amazing. It's brought mobile VR to the point that it needed to be, where Google's Daydream and Apple, for instance, just haven't managed to do yet. Unlike other mobile VR headsets, the Oculus Go is not going to poison the well. In fact, it's actually quite impressive. Now, mobile VR is never going to rival desktop VR. In terms of sheer performance of the internals that you can fix into these, you should never expect a similar experience. We might get room scale VR onto mobile at some point, but not soon. For now, however, the Oculus Go is undoubtedly the best mobile VR experience you can get. Not only does it have a great resolution, a broad selection of apps, an easy to use interface, and the sheer convenience factor, but on top of all that, did I mention it's just $200? It's just $200. Anyway, thank you for watching. Click the link in the description to read my full review, or on the Amazon link to buy your own Oculus Go. And if this video helped you to make your mind up, please hit like, and if not, tell me about it down in the comments. If you're not already, please subscribe to the Make Use Of channel for more weekly reviews, giveaways, and technology tips. Until next time.